So my buddy Nate, the Canadian prepper, did a awesome review on the Solo Stove Bonfire. He went over all the basics, the specs, and pretty much shares the same feelings as I do when it comes to the Solo Stove Bonfire. But it definitely has its place if you go camping a lot, maybe you go RVing a lot, maybe you have a small cabin, maybe you just want to put it on a patio at your house, closer to your house than you could a bonfire. It's got a small footprint. The thing is super efficient. It gets super hot around it, and it could not be easier to use. Plus it's smoke free. So definitely check out Canadian Prepper's review of the Solo Stove Bonfire. I'm going to put a link below. He does awesome videos. He also does several gear review videos, and again, he shares the same philosophy when it comes to gear review. He wants to show products that he uses himself, products that he can recommend to you without a doubt, high quality products, and this is certainly one of those products. So let's take a look at the Solo Stove Bonfire. So this is my beloved Solo Stove, the original camping stove that works really, really well. These things are really efficient. The nice thing too is that you can nest them right in a pot. So when I'm going camping, this thing always comes with me. You got the stove on the inside. It just goes together like that. You throw your wood in there, and this thing is super duper efficient. It burns down to nothing. You can just dump the ash when you're done. Of course, it nests in its own pot, which you can set on the top. So this thing is absolutely awesome. I've enjoyed using it ever since I picked one of these up. This, I believe, is the middle model, the Titan. They have a smaller model, and then I believe they even have a bigger model than this. But what we're gonna show you today is a supersized version of the Solo Stove. So as you can see, the Solo Stove Bonfire is much, much bigger than its smaller brothers, but it works the same way. You've got the dual wall construction. Basically, once your fire is going, it's drawing in that oxygen to keep burning. It's drawing in that air through these vents below, which go inside the inner wall there. They heat up because of the temperature of the fire is so hot. That air heats up, and then it escapes out the holes at the top of the ring. What that does is that supercharges or burns those gases that are being created by the fire, creating a smokeless flame. So once you get this thing going, it is virtually smokeless, especially compared to a standard bonfire. You can see we've been using it quite a bit. I've left it out in the elements. It does get a little bit tarnished looking, but in my opinion, that is awesome. You can see how well it burns down. It burns down to next to nothing. I mean, literally, if I were to tip this over, there would be very, very little that would come out. Same goes with these smaller stoves. That's why I like them so much. And the other nice thing is once this thing burns down to ash, you can literally just throw more wood in there, and it's gonna self-ignite. You don't have to blow on it. You don't have to try to get this thing back going. The Solo Stove, although quite a bit larger than these smaller portable stoves, is fairly portable. Again, comes with the carrying case, something that you could certainly put in the back of a vehicle, something you could store in a compartment in an RV, for example, or something you could just tuck away in the garage and bring it out for special occasions. Now, I did leave this out for several weeks with rain and sun and different temperatures at night, and you could see the result. It's just tarnishing a little bit. No big deal. Probably long term would want to store it in the carrying case itself, but again, it is made to be a bonfire pit, so you can certainly leave it outside. And again, loading this thing up and getting it going is super simple. I just use newspaper, a little bit of brush, and then you can throw your logs right on it. Once that air becomes heated up, it pretty much just supercharges it, and it runs all by itself. It's pretty much set it and forget it, which makes it really nice. And then again, you're getting that smoke-free fire. I ran this alongside my standard bonfire, and you can certainly tell a difference in the level of smoke. You can certainly tell a difference as far as maintaining the fire goes. When this thing burns down, you simply just add more wood, just like the smaller stoves, and it just continues to burn. And if you let it burns all the way out, down to nothing. So super, super efficient. You don't have to blow the fire back to life. You can simply just put another log on the embers, and it's going to start itself back up. So super duper efficient, super easy to use. As far as cooking goes, there is no cooking grate for the top. Now that air that's coming out of the top, or the flame that's coming out of the top, is super duper hot. You'll have to excuse my kids in the background, but the flames are super duper hot, so you really couldn't cook anything on the top. Maybe if you let it burn down to embers, you could throw a grate on there and you could cook something, or you could maybe boil a pot of water. It would work well for that, but as of yet, there is no accessories for the Solo Stove Bonfire. That being said, we did do hot dogs and s'mores on it, and you really don't even have to get it close to the coals. That air is hot enough up top to do a good job at that. So fun for the kids, good for the kids too with the no smoke. You know, you just want to be aware that the sides do get quite hot, so maybe surround it by some rocks if you wanted to, or some other means if you have kids to keep them away from the pit itself. But again, something you can use on the patio, something that, you know, I've moved around the lawn and used, and it really doesn't do any damage to the lawn. Of course, if you're in a high fire prone area, you're going to want to be careful of that, but something you can really set anywhere and have yourself a nice, efficient bonfire. Now myself, I love having a bonfire. I prefer the good old smoky bonfires. Probably not the healthiest, but for somebody that has a smaller area, somebody that wants a no hassle, hassle-free way to have a bonfire, the Solo Stove is the way to go. Again, it is a little bit expensive. There'll be links below where you guys can check out current pricing. So if you're someone that has a need for something like this, I would certainly go for this over one of those chimeneas or over one of those fire pits that you can put up on the deck. I've had several of those. The bottoms burn out of them, and you know, it's also a fire hazard if that ash drops below. This has an ash pan in the bottom that catches all that ash, and then as you create more and more fires, it just burns that out. You can also tip it over and dump out. There is no removable tray or anything, but you can simply just tip this out, and anything that is left that didn't burn, which is very, very little, you can just tip over and dump out. All right, so I got my guest reviewers here. I've got Bree, Olivia, and Nora, my three beautiful girls. Olivia's been on the channel before. She gives you her honest opinion. What do you think about the Solo Stove Bonfire?
What's really cool about it is you can roast s'mores on it, and if you're like cold, it helps you warm up, and it doesn't give any smoke.
Right, so it's nice to sit around it because you don't have to constantly move and get out of the way of the smoke, right?
Uh-huh.
And you did some s'mores last night. How did they taste?
Good.
Were they good or were they slamming?
They're slamming.
These things started off at 300 bucks. I believe they're down to 250 or even 200 now. I'll have a link below where you guys can check out the current pricing, but it's certainly going to work well for somebody who wants a hassle-free fire, someone that wants a cool product. Maybe you have a cool patio set up or a cool seating area. You want something to fill that space. This certainly is going to do a better job than just putting rocks around in a ring. There's no smoke to it, so if you're sensitive to the smoke, if you want to stay away from the smoke, this thing is going to do the trick. And then again, even cooking things like hot dogs and other things you can cook on a stick like s'mores and things like that, you don't even have to get down to the ashes. You can literally just hold that thing above it. There's so much heat coming off the top of this thing, so I'm excited to try it in the winter time as well, but it's working flawlessly. The wood goes down to nothing when you're done, so it's very, very simple. Even if you have ash in there, you don't have to blow your fire back to life or anything. You simply put more wood in there and that thing gets going again. So certainly has its place. It's going to be for some of you, it's not going to be for some of you, so I'll leave it at that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. Please leave me a comment below in the comment section. As always, give this video a big thumbs up for me, and please share it to any friends or family who might be interested in the Solo Stove Bonfire on your social media. If you haven't already done so, please consider clicking that red subscribe button and make sure you turn on that notification bell to be notified of new videos.